Hello and welcome to Question and Answer Time. I'm Michael Sidgwick, joined by fellow Dudley boy Michael Hamflett, where we answer your burning wrestling questions. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure to subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and YouTube for daily wrestling podcasts, where we preview and review Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0, Dynamite and Collision, pay-per-views, premium live events. We have wrestler interviews on occasion, question and answer time, roundtable wrestling discussions, and a round of the week complete, not this week, with a bloody good quiz of course on WrestleCulture. How you doing?
I'm feeling good.
Good!
As Sidge pointed out, there is no WrestleCulture this weekend, but I'm feeling good because there's 3 healthy doses of Fed at an awesome start time, thanks to our good friends Down Under, including a SmackDown live stream and a Raw live stream, and then Saturday afternoon Fed. So I'm feeling good about that. 1 p.m. starts for all the Fed shows. Join us for SmackDown and Raw on the channel, but if you're watching Crown Jewel, enjoy it. If you're in the UK, maybe America, you might have to get up a bit early. But I'm also buzzing, Sidge. Look at this. You walked in the office this morning, you little minx. Yeah, you hit it with a cardigan at first, but I don't think I'd spotted a yellow fella. Like, I saw it underneath, the little, like, I think it was the little pattern, like the little inbuilt pattern of a certain time.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not just any old t-shirt under that cardigan. Explain especially for the people that have only chosen to listen to this rather than view it on audio. Get your ass on the YouTube channel now and check this out.
It's an Ethiopia national football strip from, I believe, 2020, 2021.
Oh.
The Instagram algorithm knows you like soccer, kid. And I like a classic football shirt. So I went to classic football shirts on the recommendation of the Instagram algorithm, and I thought, I'll have a bit of that.
I don't have Instagram, but you and Wilborn, when like you press search, it's just all classic football shirts.
Yeah, it is. But no, I'm happy with it. It was a bit of a bargain as well. £20.
Wet. 20 quid for anything with the lowercase Umbro lettering.
Yeah.
Is all right by me.
Yeah, absolutely. So now it's delighted with this pickup.
Great badge, great crest.
And what I like about it as well, it's quite a cheaply made thing. I think there might be 2 versions, because I was like, why is this one 40 and this one's 20? It's within the fabric, the badge. However, football tops are kind of a nightmare to wash. If you forget your delicate setting and you just do a normal wash, you're like, oh, for Christ's sake. Like sometimes the click... if there's like a stuck on sponsor, it'll get crinkled.
Sad peel sometimes.
Yeah, the
letter
peel.
Or something.
Everyone hates the peel. So no peels.
No peels, just feels.
Just feels.
That's what I have for that stuff.
Just feels. Thank you very much. You're a big fan, aren't you?
I love it. It's great.
It's really nice. Thank you very much. Subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling podcast on YouTube to have a look at that. Should we get into more wrestling terrain?
Let's do it.
But there is one. It's not a soccer tangent, sadly, today, but there is a non-off topic. And I think we might have answered it before, but we'll do it again. First question comes from Bryn Bigelow. It's decent. What big swing, if any, could you realistically see WWE take in the near future to inject some excitement, improve ratings, improve ESPN reviews? Now I'm thinking, my default thought for this was, well, Paul Levesque's a boring son of a bitch, and he doesn't know anything interesting ever, so good luck with a big swing. The second one is that it's all a little bit new, this TKO era. Like, Levesque, to a degree, has to think about it in a completely different way to Vince did, because Vince was just basically, I'll do what I want and fuck you if you think I'm going to do anything differently, even to the complete and utter detriment of his company's PR. His company's critical standing, as if he would give a toss about that. Levesque has to operate differently. If he is seen to make moves that could be interpreted as like a wild swing, as Bryn says, or desperation, or shocking for the sake of it, that would indicate to a lot of new power players that are around and, more importantly, above him in the TKO operation is, he's getting desperate, this guy, and it's not working. And those are like telltale signs of, oh, this dude is flailing. He is flailing, so let's install somebody else. So I think it behooves Levesque, even if, there's a cool down, attendances aren't quite where they were. The Netflix ratings, you have to consider them a disappointment, considering how hot the Fed fell on January 5th, 2025 to where it is now. So I feel like you'd have to pick one big thing to do. But the idea of those, like the old 2000s, 2010s summer angles, like Nexus, Summer of Punk, the illegitimate child deal, and what was going to happen before, the events of 2007. I can't see one of those. I think it behooves Levesque not to do that. However, I think narratively it's starting to make sense to pull off quite a big heel turn for me. If you look at the top stars in the Fed right now, at least on the men's side of things, you got CM Punk, babyface, heel edge. He's prickly. He's CM Punk, but he is a babyface. Cody Rhodes, babyface. When he can be asked to show up, Roman Reigns is a babyface. And the model they tell storytelling-wise is as shades of grey and melodramatic inner conflict. Like Seth Rollins has been questioning whether he's a babyface or a heel really deep down in his core of late. Like Lesnar's coming in as a big heel. Orton can turn, but Orton can do at this point whatever he likes. It ain't going to move any needles for me. Drew feels like his day has been and gone.
Orton's the picture-perfect winter program for Cody Rhodes.
Yes, but it ain't going to do...
We're not talking WrestleMania. We're not talking...
Yeah, exactly. So if the trends continue and we start to get any indications of, Christ, it's not just cooling down, we are getting cold.
Yeah.
What could you see happening? I reckon the Punk turn needs to happen at some point.
I could see the Punk turn. One of the reasons I could see the Punk turn is because obviously there's so much evidence and proof that he'd be fantastic at it from a not just a creative point of view, but there's reasonable evidence out there to suggest that you could do good business with CM Punk as a heel as well, within WWE especially. He's done it before. I saw this question, and it's funny because historically, as you said, not just with Vince, but in general, once we moved into the monopoly, the big swings never even felt that big.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time it was just because maybe somebody just fancied a bit of a creative change around, and then the more money WWE made, the less inclined they were to do big swings and so on and so forth. Just away from storylines and characters for a second, I'd be naive to sit here and say he's not one of the most brothered in people in wrestling history. But at its core now, as an entity, as a corporate entity, Triple H is just a guy with a job. That is something else that is new about this era that we're currently in. We've never been in an era where the top creative voice in one of the North American majors has just been a guy with a job, or at least not since Eric Bischoff was removed from his post in 1999. These waters, especially for WWE, are relatively uncharted, and that's quite exciting because when we're talking about big swings for networks, big swings for paymasters, for the stakeholders, those are the ones, aren't they?
Yeah.
You remove somebody from a significant position of power, a Triple H or a Nick Khan, somebody that and it's to your point, they're nowhere near those levels of numbers. We're talking about softening. We're not talking about everyone's abandoned the show.
Yeah.
We're probably years off that kind of problem. However, if we ever did reach that point, that would be the move. To shareholders, to ESPN, to Netflix, to whomever, somebody very high up in one of those bigger organizations will be like, I need a head to roll here. And TKO would go, Paul, it's you. Or Nick, it's you, or whatever. So, I think that's a big swing that we need to look at down the line.
Yeah.
Creatively, it's weird. WWE, I never thought we'd be having the conversation in this lifetime or the next one where we're like, you know what, WWE is just too much of a babyface heavy territory. You never thought those days were coming.
I know.
But we are at that point. I think you're right. I think they have, and I think that's why you see currently, you do see the experiments with how much can we have Jey Uso veer towards heel before we have to decide if we're going to turn him or not? How much does Seth Rollins' character now need fleshing out to the point where he goes, this hasn't worked in the way I thought it would.
Yeah.
I thought this would give me all I wanted, but I'll never be a top guy. Punk is the obvious candidate, but in terms of keeping ESPN and Netflix happy.
Yeah, that's what we're dealing with now.
I still don't think it's enough. I still don't think it's, because what keeps them happy is a tangible turnaround, and you have to lean on history, and it just doesn't turn around. I said this months ago. I said this probably as early as the Netflix special. If we are going to see WWE's boom come to an end, which it is happening, Triple H's core job will be to protect himself and to slow it down. The job isn't to have a 2001, well, the business is dead. His job is to be like, the business died, but it took 10 years.
Yeah.
You want to be still sitting here in 2034 and being like, yeah, the cool down period's lasted enough. Time to get hot again. You know, he wants to almost pretend that this isn't just a steep slump. And I think that's what keeps ESPN and Netflix happy. If they soften but don't completely fall off, I think ultimately they probably know what they're paying for.
You think so? I said
Netflix have got a 5-year opt-out as well.
Yeah.
That, like, at the 2.5, 3 year mark, that might feel like a ticking clock to TKO.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point to make as well. I did say at the start of my answer, like, my default would be, Triple H is boring. He's done some swings. Like, he got talked into the John Cena heel turn. Like, that was a risk. They did not have to do it, and it turns out they shouldn't have. Bringing CM Punk back in the first place, you could argue, was a big swing. The result of WrestleMania 39, like, he's got it in him. The stuff with Drew across every clash, almost.
It's funny that his swings are the ones he wants to take still. You can tell instantly when getting Punk back, he's been a project of Triple H's. Cody is a project. Like, John Cena turning heel was a...
Cody arrived before the Levesque.
But when he got him, he saw him as like, he's going to be my guy.
Yeah.
Like...
I would say that was in motion anyway.
Yeah, true. But so he's picked it up and thought, don't drop that ball. It's stupid to drop that ball. But like, you look at like Roman Reigns isn't his guy or his project, is it?
Yeah.
You can tell that and feel that through the booking.
Yes.
Like, the Rock's input and the choices the Rock makes. Like, the Cena heel turn was almost like Triple H. Oh, thank God I won the political battle and we didn't have to turn Cody.
Yeah.
We'll take Cena, I guess. But then you can see how it's played out, that he doesn't have the fire in his belly for it. Creatively.
Or the talent.
All the talent.
All the talent. The next question comes from, and I apologize profusely in advance, I'm going to like just completely botch the pronunciation here. Quasim Ahmed, I'm very sorry if I've got that wrong. With AEW attendances being so low in America, should they hold more international shows that draw audiences so that it looks better on TV, which can hopefully attract the audiences back that way? Booking is fundamental, but I know he gets a bad rep these days, and he's possibly not as, as credible a voice as he once was. But I paid strict attention to Dave Meltzer when he made the point back in 2020. Like, if you want to look at, did WWE's booking get significantly better or just as wretched between the moves from Performance Center to Thunderdome? There was no discernible difference whatsoever. It was still utterly awful, just destructive, pointless slop. And yet, that shift from the Performance Center to the Thunderdome had a significant impact. They were reaching the bottom, the Fed, in terms of viewership, ratings, demo, what have you. And then the Thunderdome just packaged crap in a little bit more of a big-time feeling setting. So I do think there's something in the idea of, like, optics, big time, this energy that feels like this is a big thing you're watching. Oh, I'm going to watch it too, So I do think maybe it would help. And quite frankly, it is not my money. If you can navigate the logistics and the cost, again, not my money, we can actually, for the vast majority of the year, or like a lot of it, way more than we're getting now. And it's sort of trending in that direction, whether they've like done Mexico and Australia in the same year. They're going back to the UK, having already done it this year. So it feels like they are expanding internationally, or at least touring internationally a lot more. I would absolutely do this. My concern on an individual level is that you'll get more crowds who get so hopped up on the idea of getting a live wrestling show that they will overtake it with their obnoxious chanting. But that's a me thing. I don't think it's so obnoxious that people will go, oh God, I don't want to hear Boney M, turn it off. It'll feel like a loud, vibrant, big-time pro wrestling show if they were to continue to do it. I don't know much about like the logistics and the cost of touring. There's the talent to consider as well. Of course, one of the big features, one of the big draws of AEW to talent, look at Will Ospreay, is you can live in the UK and work in the US because the schedule is so forgiving, and you might alienate some of your roster if you're telling them, oh, you get an extra travel day on top of your 1 day or 2 days of work a week or whatever. And I know it's more than 1 day. I'm not an idiot. We watch wrestling like before the hours of work every single day. For a wrestler, it's gym, it's diet, it's creative ideas. But in doing so, again, not my money. I don't even know if it's feasible to go from I mean, like loads of. It's just a production as well. I suppose loads of like musical artists do it constantly. So who the hell knows? The one thing about this idea that could be feature, not bug, actually, is if you get some of the talents complaining in the air half the time and who wants it? Well, the people who are willing to fly everywhere.
Yeah.
If you want to live that Osprey life, that like crazy, he lives his life in midair essentially. Like, well, you're a booker's dream realistically.
Well, it's funny you mention that. We are trained. Maybe we're not all trained. Maybe some people just take things at face value. I feel like face value. We're increasingly.
It's getting very spiritual over here.
I feel more inclined now when I see a post like this to be like, yeah, great. I think this was a choice. 2 choices were made. Do you see the Cody Rhodes gym picture that was subsequently quote tweeted by Triple H?
Yes.
This week, right. I have no doubt that was a collaborative bit of marketing.
Yes.
But the point of it was, if you haven't seen it, Cody Rhodes has taken a gym selfie, and then Triple H quote tweets that gym selfie and says, this is not just this. This is a guy that just got off a 14-hour flight with a 3-hour layover, has gone to an airport gym, and he's done this. And then when he lands in Australia... When he lands in Australia...
They're getting horny over here.
He's going to get spiritual and horny, if anything. He's going to go and do another workout. He's going to do Make-A-Wish commitments. Then he's got signings or whatever. And then you'll see him on SmackDown or Crown Jewel, whatever it was. And it was illustrative, wasn't it? And it's to your point as well. It's that Will Ospreay thing. Not everybody should live that world champion life, but they do that on purpose.
I don't know about that.
Ain't in a business to win the world title. Get the business, kid. I've never agreed with that, personally. Like, I think it's okay to just earn a living and try and be your best.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny how the wrestlers say that and then also say, but you can't have a ass full of main eventers. Well, which is it?
Which is it, Steve?
Come on, Steve. Which is it, mate?
I mean, you're the best probably of all time, but come on.
Like the one guy that started getting over, he ain't going to get over by telling Ocean Rams. You really like that, did you, Steve? So which is it?
Yeah, which is it?
You need 20 people to stunt her in the vibe. So which is it, Steve? But Cody is that, and Will Ospreay is that / chasing that.
Yeah,
and it's fine to have 6 wrestlers chasing that, you know, and like then you kind of see who your top tier are and whatever. So yeah, I like that as a test. And also not just the travel and the intense schedule and all the things that make being a wrestler so incredibly hard, but I'm sure we've heard multiple testimonies over the years of, well, do you know that getting over in that crowd is really different to getting over in that crowd? And here's some new tricks you can learn. Here's some new tools you can add because you've just learned.
We're all bony M crowds now, but I
understand.
I understand your point.
And there's a bit of historical precedent here. The landscape was very different, and TNA were in a position to be able to like block book, say, 4 weeks worth of TV. But those 2009 to 2013 TNA tours that featured TV tapings didn't just make for the best Impact episodes of the year. They built an audience in this country that is here to this day.
Yeah.
Like there's a loyalty that you've created, like brand equity, basically. And it doesn't just have to be the UK, but any smaller territories that feel underserved by the mainstream, as was the case by WWE then, like that TNA was on a good TV channel that serviced a lot of people, and the arenas reflected that. They did the biggest consistent houses in the UK, like TNA, comfortably.
Yeah.
WWE would run, I mean, you and I would have gone to them. Like as our first WWE shows, there were bloody loads of them. Whitley Bay Ice Rink,
the
Sheffield Arena. You know the house shows at the Royal Albert Hall, just because it was a London venue.
Yeah.
That gorgeous venue. It's like, no, don't bring the cameras. Like we'll just run the house show because it's like they were over it all the time.
Aye.
Like now that everything's to be televised and nothing's a house show, nothing's dark, I just bring the cameras.
Yeah.
Like I'm excited for the C2 just being in a different country.
Aye,
that's going to be weird. Like that'll feel really special.
I hope so.
You know,
I
think it will.
So.
Like Cardiff,
we'll see. It's AEW and special in the same sentence.
The Cardiff Dynamite got like a lot of look at people's mobile phones reactions. Remember, like Big Bill that stayed over from that NXT 2015 tour. He still got that like cachet with the UK crowds. Like, but they just chucked it in before Wembley, didn't they? And it was a bit slapdash.
Yeah.
This one's had the build. This one's had time for people to get super excited. Cardiff and Glasgow, is it?
Aye.
People are hyped.
I think so. Is it not Manchester?
Manchester, sorry, yeah. They've had the tickets bought for a while. It's the proper stuff. It's Dynamite and Collision. You know, it's like, I think they're going to be brilliant.
I hope so. I absolutely hope so. Next question is a two-parter. It comes from Paul at Goose PW. How much do you think the monthly pay-per-view schedule has affected AEW? It feels like Revolution and All In have had the best builds the last couple of years, and they have had the longest lead-ins. Had a hugely detrimental effect on the week-to-week television, which is not going to be popular amongst the commenters, but and the listeners probably in general. But here's this thought popped into my head when I read this question, okay? And this is the byproduct of having near enough monthly pay-per-views, right? There's this, and I hate, this is actually, no, this is one of my bugbears, right? When I will mention, it's good, not right, AEW right now, it's like, it's good. Sometimes it's excellent. It ain't the same feeling-wise in my gut, personally. And I can only really speak for that. But then people will say, and people do this on like Twitter, independent of my tweets and replies and whatnot. These match graphics. I think it's better now. And they'll show like one of the weaker Dynamites from like late 2019 and compare it to like a Dynamite nowadays with significantly less people in the building, but with better critical acclaim doping match graphics like the all-star tags and stuff. It's like, it really, really doesn't tell the whole story at all. There was way more creative spark in the pandemic than there is now.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's almost like, it's a real shame. A real shame.
Daly's brought that into focus, didn't it?
It did, It's a real shame that, like, bookers have runs. We talk about this constantly. Like, Tony Khan was at the peak of his actual creative, locked-in powers when there was, like, no fans. That's a shame, but whatever. Like, just when he got it, just when he was, like, he always had good ideas, and there was some really good stuff really, really early in AEW. But once, like, they'd got over the teething pains and, just when he was like, right, I've asserted control and I'm booking an incredible Revolution card and the future is bright. Like, imagine if that was just the following year was in an arena. You'd miss some stuff. Obviously, you wouldn't get a stadium stampede or whatever. Anyway, I'm waffling because I've got what I think is a salient point to make, right? So people will say, oh, well, you got Kenny Page and was it Brodito or Jet Speed against the Bucks and the Callis family. And it was an absolutely sensational 8-man tag, right? So you can argue for match quality, and if you're not like us and you're feeling a bit spoiled and it's normalized and you still get up for great matches that fundamentally exist to be great, right? And if you want, I'm not arguing with you. I wish I could feel that way sometimes. That's one thing, right? But the problem now that they have expanded the pay-per-view schedule, and I can think of one, maybe two this year. A handful, right? But I still think the point is there to be made. How many matches have you seen on Dynamite? And before you've seen them, this is the more important bit. This is where the match graphic actually comes into it, where you're like, Jesus, we're getting that next week. When was the last time you felt that? Like, honestly, true to your heart. Top of my head this year, pretty cool getting Ospreay Takeshita 2. Spring Breakthrough. To a degree, the second that when they did Hangman Mox at the Aragon, to a degree. I
thought Money and Athena was fascinating as a TV booking.
Yeah, I think Spring Breakthrough, like, it's so funny how he went harder for that than he did for the 6-year anniversary.
Yeah.
The Hugh Bischoff show, he went big on that.
Oh, yeah, that was that one, wasn't it?
Big on that. I think WrestleMania weekend factored into that as well. But what I'm saying generally is that feeling, and I'm not overstating this because you can go back and listen to the podcasts at the time. We used to say the best part of Dynamite is that pre-main event Excalibur rundown of what's on the show next week, because it was like, oh my God, we're getting that. And I don't know if it's just a knock-on effect of like the expanded pay-per-view, or whether it's just more generally we've had a lot of product, like too much product really. The booking isn't quite as powerful as it was. The creative direction, there's a lot that goes into it, but I do think that the fact that you've got too many pay-per-view matches to run per year and you can't really distribute some little treats, if you like, across the TV cycle, that feeling has kind of gone. And I don't think the pay-per-views are so amazing that I'm willing to accept the trade-off personally as a fan.
I would agree with that. I think, well, because, I mean, again, this is very subjective, but even some of your best matches or your theoretical biggest unused pairings can't feel as special because everything feels a bit more like churn.
Yeah.
You know, I know, like we all know with both companies, because there's two of them.
There's only two, really.
We all know the difference between the big shows and the B shows. But if you're a promotion, you can't, like, say that out loud. Yeah. You know, so you have to say that Wrestle Dream is just as big as Revolution, bigger, if anything. Like, you can't promote it in any other way.
Yeah.
We all just know it and accept it. But by knowing and accepting it, you've already pasted the fiction.
Yeah.
Because you've thought, well, if this is on Full Gear, it'd be bigger. If this is on Double or Nothing, you know. And then you kind of get into the wrong debates because you just start having conversations about which show is bigger and what show means more. So, yeah, it's all... I feel like I can't remember this conversation in terms of discourse with WWE, but I can definitely remember it with TNA. And obviously, we've lived through it with AEW. There was never a point where adding of shows to the schedule felt good.
Yeah.
And then every now and then, there would be like a rule-proven exception. And like you'd go, all right, okay, one more is fine. And or like, you know, the people that know better would go, see, or whatever. But when you're old enough to have seen how this goes, it never just stops there.
Yeah.
Like even... So like Grand Slam is probably the best example I think of. You are AEW, you are white hot, you are nipping at Raw's heels.
2021 Grand Slam.
2021 Grand Slam. And not just that, you have found a venue that is untapped. You have a way to say that New York is yours without even needing to get Madison Square Garden. So there's optics wins, there's like business metrics in your favor, and there's the potential for growth if you run there year on year as your big show. Grand Slam. I find that really hard to argue. You know, if I'm there in that moment at the time, I'm saying yes, 100 times yes. But that's with the knowledge of 5's going to become 6, 6 is going to become 8, 8's going to become 12. Everything's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
It's a snowball effect, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know how you know, like, and they never, TNA pushed that snowball back up the hill and went to 4 pay-per-views or went to 6 or whatever. And they still booked as if it was monthly.
Yeah.
They couldn't then snap out the cycle.
Yeah.
I don't think AEW will ever snap out there. Even if they drop the pay-per-views cold. If Tony Khan did like, I got loads of money. And the deal with Max is at its end. And now we're with these and I can just make choices. Yeah. He'd still book in these cycles now. Because you get trapped in it, don't you?
Yeah.
You know? So
I wanted a couple more at the time when they had the 4. I wanted a couple more. But not this many.
No.
Not this many. The second part of Paul's question is, who is your favourite bad wrestler, i.e. crap in the ring, but you can't help but love? I think in terms of the best pure presence, charisma, that ability to, it's almost magic to convince me that this guy is one of the hardest bastards you'd never, ever want to be in a fight with. And yet when the bell rings, stuff, God rest his soul, did not look particularly good. And it's Sid. It's Sid. I mean, the guy is...
guy sucks, guy rules.
Guy sucks, guy rules. Like, he makes his entrance, and you think everyone's in trouble.
Yeah.
You think people are going to die in that ring. And it's like, it's always pretty flat, boring, and his stuff actually, it's almost... I care way more about, in this case, in the specific case of Sid, I care way more about one thing than the other and get good matches out of anyone. But these days, especially. But with Sid, it's like just charm me all over again. I'll skip the match. I'll skip through it.
Yeah, and you really can. There's a Sid segment.
I'll fill in the blanks in my head.
Like the segment for me in the Fed that sums up. You know, less so to his. They did try, not in the second WCW run, but as a horseman, there was this like earnest effort at first to progress him from skyscraper to. Can he work? Can he hang with the smaller guys? Kind of like the Nash trajectory in WWE. They tried that with Sid before that, with like stick him with Flair as a stablemate, stick him against Sting as an opponent. Is a wrestler? No,
but we're going to do it anyway.
When he jumps, there's that segment after he's just turned heel on Hogan, and it's Sid in a nutshell for me. He's not in a nutshell. He's in a barber shop. He's smashing it up. Beefcake's ran in fear. Like, it's scary. And then he smashes that talcum powder and it goes in his face. And you're like, oh, Sid.
Oh, what you like?
Jerk. Yeah.
What are you like?
Like, fat, bald-headed little oaf.
It's one of the funniest
scary
things
as it is funny.
Yeah.
He's Sid 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
And
love him
Sid
so much.
Carly is always my go-to for this because he stinks. God damn it, I love the great Carly. Like his stuff almost to a match stinks.
Yes.
But if I could...
The most I've ever loved Cena is against
Great
Carly.
yeah. Pinning the Undertaker with foot in his chest. Shawn Michaels screaming at him to look at the hard camera in that Rumble. Like, I mean, that's good stuff. And a modern example in terms of absolute klutz who I adore, I'd probably have to go with Jey Uso. He's rubbish. Like, I've gone off, like, let's never talk about him being good ever again.
Yeah, because he's
absolute,
not.
Absolute, top 5 wrestlers of the 2020s for me. I love him. I absolutely love the bones of the guy. He stinks. That, WrestlePalooza chair business.
I mean, that's hilarious.
It's hilarious. That's Sid Sucks, Sid Rule tier for me with Jey Uso.
No, that's not.
Lexus King is he's doing something at the moment. What's going on there?
He's looking a bit live though at the minute.
Yeah.
Though, so
you see him going old school, stooging around for Omos on the house show.
No.
Oh man, it's like proper Bobby Heenan getting an Andre's face at WrestleMania 6.
Jesus.
And Omos just
all these comparisons.
Just knocks him silly.
Jey Uso, Sid, Lexus King.
He's like, yeah.
Lexus King's who?
Like Bobby Heenan.
When what about Austin Theory's, what about his Terry Funk? Oh, we're doing this.
I mean, come on, let's not go nuts. And he knows what I'm saying with that one. No, God, no.
Anyway.
Never commit to that take on the internet.
Thank you. Maybe in his personal head.
Buried in the vault until the day I die.
Brad Daniel asks, do you have a hot take on any sort of food or drink? If so, what is it? Keep up the awesome work, gents. Best podcast in the world. New newts.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. And thank you everyone, by the way, who's actually submitted the questions. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to do it. Might have said this before. No harm in saying it again. Let's get the word out. Yeah? Steak's better medium than blue or rare for me.
Okay.
I don't like the gelatinous texture.
Meat jelly in general, is never for me. Whenever it's a bit wibbly wobbly.
Yeah, I don't need it to shine. I just need that pink to just glow a bit. You need the pink, but if you get rid of that little jelly bit in the middle, I can't.
That is a hot take as well, isn't it? Yeah,
because everyone says you are the absolute the foodies. People reckon I'd never go well done, but the. If you can get a nice juicy steak that has got that beautiful pink color, but no gelatinous raw looking meat in the middle, that's ideal for me. But there are steak lovers and foodies and who say the absolute maximum you can go is medium rare. Max. I like mine medium rare to medium. So it's a lovely color pink, but there's no jelly in there at all. I'm sure you've got a food hot take, Angela.
Well, is it the nature of a hot take where you don't think it's a hot? I'm not very good at hot takes, but is the nature of it
hot take something that you believe to be true?
Yeah. So thus is not a hot take because you're like, why is nobody else on my side of
a hot take, as I understand it, is something you believe to be true. You're adamant in it. You're not saying it to be contrarian. You believe it, but it's not going to go down well.
Yeah, people know this. We've done this.
You are a walking hot take as it pertains to food.
As it pertains to food, probably my biggest one, but there probably is a lot, and I don't mean them to be. I just know who I am in this regard. It's an all-timer office joke, actually. Quantity greater than quality, general. And I don't know why people would think differently. There's a great Michael Scott gag where he's ordered from the wrong Alfredo's in Scranton, and he's like, yeah, but would you like a small amount of really good pizza or a lot of really terrible pizza? And the whole office goes, small amount of good, as he's saying the complete opposite. I'm with him. I take mountains.
So let's recap. You think Lexus King is like Bobby Heenan, and you identify with Michael Scott.
Correct. Give me a Pizza Hut buffet over because I can have as much of it as I want over the best.
Rudy's in Newcastle City Centre, sourdough.
Yeah, but it's one pizza, or it's pizza by the slice or whatever. Because I want a lot of my satisfaction from that kind of eating, or spending money to eat out, comes from
taking a slap up meal to the missus to Pizza Hut.
The ginormous pile of mashed potato with sausages sticking out in the Beano.
I mean, that does look good.
It always does, doesn't it? A slap up meal, slap up feast.
Alright, Henry VIII.
That's it, yeah. But I do. That's what it is. It's Henry VIII eating. I want my stomach to feel like the head equivalent of 12 pints. I want to feel like hungover from greed. You know, like, oh God, I'm so full. I feel ill because I'm so full.
But ill, but good.
Ill, but good. I've overindulged. Like, I remember...
I've actually calmed down in that regard. I used to eat until then.
They reckon it's a class thing, don't they? They reckon like it's a working class thing if it's like clean your plate, finish your dinner, because that's how, I'm sure you did the same. It was like food was a scarcity, and it was like if you were raised...
I wasn't raised rich and nothing. No. If you look at what my parents did for a living, absolutely working class. But like, I would have the thing was where it's just like, oh, you've only got 2 things left on your plate. Why don't you just finish them up because it's a waste? And I always used to just steadfastly say, absolutely not. I'll do what I want.
This is the difference between people that stuck with the Fed in the 20 bad years.
Exactly.
Like, there's like, clean your plate. It's like, watch your Fed. Like, there's a mindset.
I won't do neither.
It's the only one you've got. And it was like, and then it's happening again. This wrestling's the only one I've got. I best eat it up. But yeah, quantity over quality. Like, it's just who I am. What else? I think that...
I've said this before. I think bread should be softer. Like, I don't like crusty bread.
I love it, but I can understand
it. Make me militant about how it has to be like a nice crust. It's too hard.
I'll tell you what, there's something magic about crusty bread in a soup when it like brings it down.
Yes, yeah.
So it like starts crusty, the texture will change. I like all bread all the time. So like you got crusty for different breads, different needs.
Different breads, different needs.
I also think I think a lot of people do this in the shadows. And like, why am I so ruddy bloody brave for saying it out loud? I think more people eat what would be traditionally considered kiddie dinners than they're letting on, like spaghetti hoops on toast, quickie oven meals. Like, I think that goes on way more. Like every now and then somebody will like tweet it and then look at those numbers. There's a lot of people that are like feeling heard by that. It's like they're getting home from work, they're tired, like can't be asked to go and do a big shop, or like the cupboard's pretty bare or whatever, and it's just like, yeah, but there's that like spaghetti hoops and sausages in a can or whatever.
I find that revolting.
It's big soup for me, but like something in a can. Like, I think more people.
I'll never turn my nose up at like sausage, egg, and chips, like a World War II cafe treat.
Do you watch the Bear?
Calf.
Do you watch the Bear?
Nah.
Right. I really love the Bear. This is not a criticism of the Bear, but it's a criticism of something that I've seen done by people that can cook. Right. You can cook. I don't think you would do this for me, but
I can follow recipes.
Well, all right, maybe not then. But like, so like in the Bear, there's obviously it's like really talented chefs and whatever, and there'll be somebody like, oh God, I'm very stressed today, whatever. They'll go and sit in the back, and then one of the chefs will like, want me to cook you up some, I don't know, like scrambled egg on toast or whatever, like a really basic thing that like you would make for yourself at home. But like, because they're chefs, it's like, it's fancy. They don't know anymore how to make egg on toast the way that we would make egg on toast. It's got like all these extra accoutrements and it's been done differently. That pisses me off, man, because I think it creates this idea that, like, God forbid if you're at home, you actually want just the slop version of the thing you like.
Yeah.
You haven't gone to the trouble. And I think more people live like that than I think more people should be comfortable to admit that.
Me and Hamflett do you think is a lot of people are just liars?
I think a lot of people are liars.
A lot of people lie about a lot of things.
I think I've finally been broken by X. Like, I log on.
The performative.
I log on, I see lies,
media.
I log off. Yeah, I log on, I see lies, and I log off.
I will say, I don't like some of the specific things you're referring to. Like, I don't like an oven chip. I mean, I'll eat them. I will eat them just for on a weeknight. Sometimes
buttered bread and some oven chips. That's like, I still think it's like with good chip buddy for me.
It's like I used to deep fry fries, but now I've moved house and I've got like a fancy new induction hob that I'm not deep frying nothing no more. Yeah. I didn't used to care what I used to like do in my old kitchen, but now I do. But I will say, I've started to simplify some of my offerings in that. And I was listening. I was just like, I haven't done I've made burgers before, but never a smash burger. So I was like, what's the best technique? And and I just came across an Anthony Bourdain clip, and he's like, what do you need on the burger that you make at home? And I know you want to be fancy, and it's nice to cook and make fancy looking things with this new burger craze. He's like, what's it adding? Do you just like even bacon? It's like, does bacon add much to a burger? I'm like, well, yes, but he's like,
I like it when it's ironed flat by Burger King.
Yeah, I like that.
It isn't getting in the way.
Yeah, but now I'll just make 2 patties, cheese, lettuce, ketchup. That's it on my burger. So I do the simple things in life.
It's either a pizza non-steak or it's an outright like pizza OG's take, isn't it? Is that like if the best pizza does not require topping, it merely requires pizza.
So
that's a true.
I like a good Neapolitan pizza with like maybe 1 basil leaf, but like just
is that margarita?
Yeah, margarita. I do like that a lot. Like, if you just have the best ingredients, it's ideal.
I don't need like 12 things on it, but like I'd pick, say, pepperoni, for example, just for a bit of something. But
a
like,
bit of something.
But like,
a bit of something.
But again, what I want is
4 pepperoni pizzas.
Yes. Like,
see, like the double Joey.
The double. Do you know what I'm going to try and do? Because again, this is like, it's low quality and I don't care. Like, you know, like a supermarket freezer pizza.
I don't like them.
I get it. I don't judge anyone.
I will eat them sometimes.
Totally right. Yeah, like they're like really quick, really easy, and you know you are getting a certain low bar standard. You know?
Yeah.
I've never thought about it now until you just said double Joey. But like making a sandwich out, like making one, making another, putting them on top of each other, and cutting that like calzone fighting, sandwiching like 2 of those oven pizzas, like a 150, maybe like a posher one, a 150 Dr. Oetker one or something. Not quite the one.
Dr. Oak. I remember the pesto one. I remember that.
Not the one that comes in the like the Asda plastic seal. Doesn't even have a box. Which again I don't mind, but not that one because I don't think it'd be strong enough. You'd need to like
fortify it.
Well, you'd need to burn the base, and then it'd be too crispy. But like 2 Dr. Oetkers, just like I think I might try that. You know, that could be my latest invention after the fabled and celebrated in some quarters toast sandwich. The positive feedback I got on the toast sandwich was like all-time validation, because I knew sometimes as well that like for whatever reason you'd been tagged in it and then you'd see it like, oh, that's Sidgwick Saturday slightly chipped away at by somebody enjoying one of Hamflett's toast sandwiches.
The next question comes from Critteron. I thought I read Kyletron there and I was going to skip right past it, but no, it's Critteron. How do you suppose a Rey Mysterio AEW run would have gone? Would they have pulled Dom into AEW somehow? If you look at Hook, who was very, like, Dominic Mysterio was once very unfavorably compared to Hook. It's wild how things change. If you look at Hook, I reckon Tony Khan genuinely, who's got an eye for talent and an eye for who is best in what role and who would work well with who and da-da-da. There's very few wrestlers where I've thought, Christ, they are so miscast. I think Tony Khan gets it.
Mm-hmm.
I reckon he would have looked at Dom, clearly how he carries himself backstage. He probably just enjoys being a brash young lad because he's so incredible at playing the character. I reckon Tony Khan would have spotted that natural personality.
Seen a bit of himself in him. Oh, what's the thing that people might not like about me?
Yeah.
I'll put that on telly. Yeah.
I reckon Tony Khan would have seen, that's what Dom's like in real life. Oh, well, you can just do that. I reckon he would have seen it. I don't think he would have been as successful in promoting it, mind you. And, like, I know there's not many WWE live events these days, but it certainly must have helped Dom. It must have helped Dom. Like, the whole vibe and atmosphere and cutting loose and da-da-da-da. As it pertains to his father, Rey, like, if you're looking at precedents to inform your takes, I reckon he could have, Rey in WWE post Dom turn. I mean, I'm glad they had the WrestleMania match because he's just been completely plagued by injuries.
Yeah, and he probably feels like he served his grand purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. So
that last deal was about Dom, wasn't it?
Yeah, so he's probably not like absolutely clanging, banging, hitting that gym, desperate to get back, more motivated than ever. Like, it's Rey Mysterio. He's earned the right to come in, do some stuff, get injured, go away again. You know, it's Rey. He's a legend. I reckon Tony Khan would have booked him better. I don't think he would have done the Rey Dom stuff because that was magic, total magic as well. But in terms of Rey individually, I mean, the precedent you're looking at, Sting. Like Tony Khan,
it's good with legends.
Is incredible with legends. He really is. And I think I don't think it would have been quite as good as the Sting thing, but like Rey Mysterio at this stage in his career ain't gonna have a match, an AEW style house match, if you like, as good as a 2021 Lucha Bros match. Probably just isn't happening. I reckon Tony Khan went, right, I'm exposing him by doing this. I can normalize everybody else, but I can't normalize Rey. I reckon he would have just done some like hardcore lucha brawls and bleeding underneath the mask and maximizing Rey Mysterio's absolutely unbelievable ability to sell through the mask, as everyone says, like with some like destroyers off balconies through tables, but like that's his one big bumper match. I reckon he would have stinged it.
I tell you what is interesting. It's related here. It's a timeline thing, really. Like
the Bucks would have loved doing all of that for Rey.
there's a sort of a break in the timeline where 2018, 2019, first ever stem cells Rey Mysterio. That's quite interesting because he definitely found a gear that he thought was long dead in that era. Remember the Brock Lesnar stuff? Remember how he was in New Japan for a hot minute? Remember that Rumble return where we were like cartoon eyes bugging because, Jesus, this is 1995 Rey Mysterio. What the hell is happening here?
What are you doing here?
Like, first 6 months of Dynamite, that Rey, that's interesting.
Yeah, it is,
because there's your leveling up work rate. And then obviously, there's only so much magic that can perform. And then obviously, as the time goes along, the contract he's signing is absolutely for Dom, not for himself.
Yeah.
But if he's in an environment where not like, because that work rate run was probably realistically just to get the best out with the Brock Lesnar story and then start to settle back in for Dominic's sake. But if you've got a Tony Khan and you've got this like open world and a Chris Jericho as your world champion and I tell you what, I'd love to get in there with Rey. And then the hands shoot up. I want to get in there with Rey. And then Rey is suddenly feeling, hang on, I want to be in there with them. And this is brand new upstart and there's a big world belt that could be mine again. That's quite interesting to think about because then he becomes like a power player, doesn't he? In like the early days. So that's maybe different. But this particular era, I totally agree. I just think it'd be quite warm and nice.
Yeah.
And again, nepotism, I would argue probably does better does better for you in AEW than the Fed.
Yeah.
Like
all French wrestling, I'm fairly certain it does.
So yeah, Dom would have been fine. Just not as well promoted.
Yeah.
This year's been the difference with Dom, isn't it? You've really seen the promotional machine. It's like they've captured something and they know how to harness it. He would just fall back in, wouldn't he?
He would,
like
it's a dub for you. It is a dub. Alan Egan asks, what programs do you think TK should run to boost interest in the product as opposed to just matches he hasn't run yet? Example given, Kenny Darby. I'd love Swerve to return as a heel who thought he could accept Page being world champ, but his injury layoff changed his views. A true heel Swerve. I can't disagree. Similar to WWE in that there's a lot of baby faces, and I know Ospreay and Swerve are now sort of on the shelf. So that's lessened to a degree. But I think part of the problem with presenting such a wholesome world is that like I know you got the Don Callis family, but they all feel like just there's 14 upper mid carders. Jesus. Doesn't feel like there's any true main event heels. So when you don't have any true main event heels, it becomes incredibly difficult, therefore, to book proper main event level feeling programs. I think, right, and it's almost weird, how much would, I don't want to completely piss on Adam Cole, particularly when he's going through like life-changing awful stuff right now, potentially. Does AEW CM Punk thing does factor in, it always will, in my opinion. What if Eddie Kingston is chosen as the big opponent over Adam Cole? Like, the thing about MJF versus Adam Cole is I've described it in an article, and whenever it comes up, I will describe it as this. It was so charming and the chemistry was so good that ultimately it got away with itself. There's a lot of evidence to indicate that it was a smash success, but was it a great idea long-term to split your audience in half, completely compromise the tone, run off the kind of viewers that are like, I thought this was going to be...
People still reference it.
Which
I think is unfair.
I think it's unfair.
They still do.
But I also get it in that it was, at its core, pretty heightened, silly, invisible camera. I mean, I know they said, oh, hi, cameraman. But for all intents and purposes, it was invisible camera, light, not what you'd expect out of main event pro wrestling, the way you remember it, even if you remember it in this weird sort of hazy fake way. It ran off people, and you can probably trace some of the buildings going down to that. It was too risky. It was absolutely amazingly well performed, until it just got crap with the devil. Sports entertainment, or what people perceive sports entertainment to be. If it's MJF, Eddie Kingston, and they instead get together and think, right, let's map out the next 9 months of both of our lives in the title picture, I think it looks like a different company now, potentially. I think you should go back to it. You've got the best babyface talker in the company when he can be bothered or when he's told to talk against the best heel talker in the company. We have reached that event horizon of great matches. We talk about it every week. We get more great matches every week. I don't really feel that great because if they were great, you'd be talking about them. I want to be talked into something now. I want to be convinced to feel something now for a big AEW program. And I think if it's on the table, just set the table, eat at the table. I mean, it's just, it feels like it can't miss. Two talkers of that caliber doing a long-term story when universally throughout history, stylistically it can change, tonally it can change. Personal issues draw money, and they don't happen to be the best babyface and best heel talker respectively in the company. There is a character contrast there that is just a magnetic field of conflict. They have to do that for me.
I think Alan here is, and this is with absolutely no disrespect to a lot of the questions, not that just we get asked in these podcasts, that we probably ask each other and talk about on the AEW reviews, is asking the right question here, because Alan specifies the programs to boost interest rather than just matches he hasn't got to. And Kenny and Darby is a perfect example, because who the hell doesn't want Kenny Omega versus
Would I want to
Darby
watch
Allin?
that on TV, build? Not really.
Yeah, like programs, and there is definitely this idea that like you kind of, we talked about it, like we've plugged it loads, and it's absolutely worth going out your way to read. Your CM Punk article, fantastic read.
Thank you.
Like, and we've talked about it over the desks. The MJF CM Punk story is the reason for the Revolution buy rate.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that nothing was happening between Hangman Page and Adam Cole. It just wasn't connecting as much.
Yeah.
But something was happening. You know, there was like a program.
I could go back MGF, CM Punk, and like, if you put me on the spot now, I could say, right, start with a handshake, and then there's probably some murkier details, and they'll go the face-to-face, the PG Punk, and and track it chronologically, remember the sound bites, like the moves from the match at on TV, and then the fallout from that, and how they were drawn back together, and Hangman Page and Adam Cole. I can't remember a thing.
Yeah,
I can only vaguely remember that they did too similar an angle at Daly's place after, the pinnacle butchering of Punk. And Jim Ross was like, too far, fellas, way too far. And that was the I'm a snake old man. I'm fairly certain, like, Cole had Hangman in the ropes. And I'm like, don't do that, you stupid slurd.
Yeah.
It's well, like, I mean, just done it in a better way.
That was one of the reasons why it had to be lights out, didn't it? Remember, because it had escalated in such a way.
It wasn't lights out.
Was their payoff not lights out when Danhausen debuted?
That was Adam Cole, Orange Cassidy.
Oh, sorry. I apologize. But it's not like I remember.
It's not like you remember.
No, programs like the when you're talking about the like Will Ospreay and Swerve, where they are currently, we're years away from it. But like, what does a heel Will Ospreay look like when this character's journey's been really well plotted, and this guy really does. He almost makes the uncoolest thing cool, which is waving the flag for AEW.
Yeah.
He's the one guy that makes that seem like a worthwhile cause. So you run that as it's like Cody Rhodes, isn't it? They're very like for like. He's the one guy that's made like being WWE's quarterback this palatable job.
Yeah.
You know? In the way that John Cena didn't do ever in 20 years. Cody's done it. So Ospreay doing that and then turning heel is interesting.
Yeah.
Conversely, whilst I've disliked more than I've liked of it, I am interested in the redemption arc of John Moxley. That's a program I want to watch, because you do enough bad stuff that it seems like you can never recover it. But John Moxley is very talented, and he's in the company that will evidently cater to all of his like whims, good and bad. So what is he thinking about when he's thinking of, well, how do I recover this as a character? Like, he's probably already thinking about how he fights to earn the fans' trust back, and the matches he has in order to do that. And I'm really interested in that, because he's drawn before as well.
Yeah.
So like John Moxley as a babyface, looking to earn your trust again as a fan and fighting the new evils and the new baddies. And like I want to see how that eventually develops.
Yeah.
So there is some stuff, but the problem maybe comes is that it's harder to fantasy book these programs when you don't have a roster full of people that you particularly want to fantasy book. That mid-card problem is, to me, the biggest problem in AEW. The Don Callis family is a funny picture.
Yeah.
But like, there's no such thing as the babyface family, but you could do it. You could take the conglomeration picture and you could have the sideways members of the conglomeration, or like babyface friends of the conglomeration. and then you could just have one giant, like, 14-on-14 Survivor Series match, and it would make a blind bit of difference.
Yeah.
Like, there is so many heels and baby faces that I don't think about. Like, I tell you what, let's say something nice about AEW. That's why I have to give immense credit to the booking of and the follow-through of Brodito winning the titles, because they have built something and made it better and bigger. And we're at the point where you've got this match coming up with Takeshita and Okada, its own storyline, and the two things are overlapping quite nicely. Like, Brodito was they've won the belts.
Yeah.
And it's actually gotten better. How often does that happen in AEW?
Not very often.
Like, I think that's an immense credit that they've, like, really found something.
I'll throw it out your shoulders, guys. I'll feel sympathy for you. It's the moral of that story. So my answer to that, I'm going to contradict in 2 questions time. First, the penultimate question comes from Rob Enright. As good as it is that wrestlers get long-term contracts and are healthier, is the malaise in wrestling due to wrestling longevity? Example given, Jurassic Express being a thing again after 6 years in AEW is longer than both Austin and Rock's run at the top. This guy sometimes comes off as a bit of an asshole. But our biggest frame of reference for this, and like we've said it for years, probably predating the actual existence of AEW, of the person who was just around and around and around and around and around. And it's like, God, I can't ever believe in you. Dolph Ziggler. It's like the Dolph Ziggler crystallized for me. God, it's broken. He can't be around for this long. I'm bored. This poor bastard is like bumping around like a dickhead night after night after night, multiple times in one match, just trying.
What?
For what? First of all, you shouldn't be bumping that much if you want to be in the main event. Don't get too good at doing those bumps because they'll want the stars to bump you. But I digress. Digression Jones over here. No, I'm completely with you. I think this is a good take. It's one that we've said before AEW exists, but now that you mention it, it's becoming an AEW problem now, especially now that Tony Khan will give, and this is a good thing. He does good things that I criticize Tony Khan, and maybe I should mention that more often in his defense, if you like. He's so loyal. He will push certain people for a long, long time. He will present wrestlers as pin eaters on TV for so long. Even it's like, well, they probably shouldn't be on TV no more because they've completely lacked all kind of purpose and credibility for a long time. But you're doing a nice thing for them. This idea of the wrestler lifestyle changing and the monopoly in WWE, the problem there was, for a long time, there was nowhere else to jump. So, you'll get them in there for years and years and years. It has been a problem for some time. Again, I honestly think so much of this goes back to the fact that there's no off-season in wrestling. So I'm bored of jumps now. I'm bored of jumps.
The Andrade thing.
That was the solution for a while.
Yeah. The Andrade thing and then the nearly Santos Escobar thing this week, really crystallized that for me. Because he was gone from WWE, and as
it's a great take, by the way, bro.
It's like I'd be so much more interested, but everything Sid just said is right. You have to apply these caveats because it was reasonable to complain about the ridiculous life that wrestlers had in the 80s, 90s, and most of the noughties, and then we'd be hypocrites if we said, "Get them back out on the road, kid." But speaking cruelly and strictly as a TV viewer, 1-year contracts would certainly put the cat amongst the pigeons in a lot more storylines because you would have to fight it, you would have to politic. That was why they were such bastards to each other. It was because you were a month to month, and it's no way to live. So there's no perfect here, unfortunately.
No,
there's
a nice way or the entertaining way.
a bit.
That's why Punk drew all those. Mr. Workers' Rights and stuff, and he was the guy who was way back when he was I should be an employee.
Yeah.
We should get all that money from the network. Now he changed to, actually, you know what? Nah, probably shouldn't have guaranteed contracts or anything.
Should make the most, if anything.
It's,
There is wrestling.
The ethical way is, if I was asked, sit down, you're in control, Sidgwick. I would say, all right, okay, I'm bored of watching this wrestler in this company for this long, but it's the nicer thing to do, so let's just do it.
Tony Khan, I think, I would agree with you, probably deserves credit for trying and failing to find the happy medium, and he hasn't. When he finds happy...
He's not ruthless, is he?
No, when he finds happy, the show is medium.
Yeah.
And that's the happy medium. You know like that? But 1 hour NXT was an interesting version of it. but 1 hour NXT ain't going to get you no TV rights.
No.
But like that was how like everyone was working a healthy amount and everyone was staying over.
And then you had the inbuilt benefit of, there's a way out. There's a finale for your character.
Yes.
You get to go to the main roster.
Yeah, the terms of that were never going to be getting billion-dollar TV deals.
Yeah.
So that couldn't exist.
Has that ever happened?
What's
that was what was so perfect about NXT. It's like you never got the chance really to get bored of the wrestlers, and they weren't ruthlessly fired. I mean, some of them were released, obviously, but like the whole idea was there is an end to your character's journey, which never happens in wrestling.
Yeah, that's probably...
There's the deaths in Lucha Underground.
Well, oddly, I would say the only
obviously people, jumped around in territories, and
I was going to say ECW in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like, because every wrestler it was reasonable for them to think, I want to get to the big leagues. You sold out and all that. But Paul Heyman could craft, like Raven is finally going to lose to Dreamer. For one example, you know what I mean? And it became part of the DNA that, like, at some point, Guerrero and Benoit are going to sign for WCW. Steve Austin's going to get his Fed deal, whatever. Yeah. Like, so they could use that, couldn't he? It
wasn't a model, though, really. It was like, all right.
It was a forced model.
It's been thrust upon me, and some people can just sort of quietly slink off. Other ones that get nice.
Tommy's going to stay forever.
But no, NXT had a lot of inbuilt advantages. Yeah, Tommy, who wants Tommy? No one. You know what I
mean? Even the Sandman got signed, Tommy. You're still here.
I bet you someone at some point was like, oh, you know what? Oh, God. It's not been the best month, really, has it? Or it could have been better than the other one. Should we get Tommy Dreamer? He just wouldn't have gone, would he?
Well, that's it. Like, we're shooting for fun. But if I welcome on Busted Open or whatever his outlet is, Tommy Dreamer to just like produce the factors and the memos, because I bet they came calling at some point.
I bet you they did. Like, that sounded bad. It wouldn't have made sense, but I reckon they did.
The memos must, like, he's professed his undying loyalty to ECW, and like, I'd love to see those offers, because I wonder what he did turn down for Paul Heyman's bounce checks. Like, I wonder what he said no to in like 1999 or something.
Aye.
Money was absolutely flooded through the business. It was really huge from getting this is not a dig at these talents, right? But like the Meanie had a decent little run.
Yeah.
Like 98, 99, like Job Squad, Goldust sidekick, kicking around with Stevie Richards for a bit, and then he went back. But like, I was all right. It was like a money year for the Blue Meanie. Like Tommy Dreamer, like front-facing guy. Someone was in WCW.
He was awesome.
Hey, what Hardcore was all right, you know. Like,
I liked him, me.
Yeah, he was fine. Like Bammer, like kicking.
I'm a big Spring Stampede 1999 guy. This is one of the best shows I've ever watched.
Mikey Whipwreck's on that card.
Oh, aye.
Where's Tommy's contract? You know, like
so much of a mark. The last question comes from Dragon Rana. And
Tommy Dreamer, more like Mark Loser.
And I'm going to contradict the idea of MJF versus Eddie Kingston should be your underneath the world title program if you want to talk people into the buildings. Because Dragon Rana asks, who should be Hangman's next challenger going into Full Gear? You should do Eddie Kingston versus MJF, right? And really, because it would be incredible. But at this point, I'm just playing a game of, like, are there any heels?
Well, Ricochet's lost a major program, so maybe him.
Yeah.
Like,
you know what I mean? Like, are there any heels? Are there any heels? Are there any heels for Hangman Page? Are there any heels? Are there any heels?
Are there any heels for Hangman Page?
You know who I kind of want to see turn heel? And I think you might initially resist this take and think, oh no, you can't do that. And I would counteract your counter argument with a why not? Eh? Why not? Turn Eddie Kingston heel, who cares at this point? If he's just going to be on Collision doing stuff, feuding with Sammy Guevara, like just bemoaning the idea that he has to cut a promo, doesn't feel important. He doesn't feel like he's Dynamite worthy. This dude, there's something going wrong there with Eddie Kingston and Tony Khan.
There'll be a forensic examination of this comeback one of these days. I've been feeling this the last couple of weeks.
What's going on here?
Yeah, there will be a deeper dive down the line if this doesn't end well and we don't get some sort of main event program, or I'm talking within like 6 months.
Yeah,
people are going to start looking at this and asking questions. This feels wrong. All of it feels.
Eddie Kingston, who had that match and that build, short as it was, with Moxley at Full Gear 2020. The Eddie Kingston, who there are a lot of people going, he should have worked Kenny for All Out and not Christian Cage. I shouldn't have rematched that. The Eddie Kingston who felt like a massive project, like Chris Jericho, when Chris Jericho got his big singles feud, and that still felt like a massive deal for someone's career, which it did at the time. What's going on with Eddie Kingston and this AEW relationship?
The Kingston Miro.
Aye. People were furious that he didn't beat Miro.
And that was hot as well. Like that, like
I was hot as balls.
Imagine Eddie Kingston versus Rusev right now in the way the characters are sitting.
I know.
Like that's a victory for booking, isn't it? Like
and I've said there's an apathy somewhere. I don't know if it's in both directions or a one direction to another. Whether Eddie Kingston's checked out, or whether Tony Khan, for whatever reason, has just given up on Eddie Kingston, or if there's just a mutual can't be arsed, but I'm under contract, let's just do whatever, something. Like he is being criminally underused, but then maybe if he has checked out, if you're Tony, I don't know, there's something wrong. There's something amiss. There is something amiss considering where Eddie Kingston's been and the manner in which he's come back. And considering this is a guy that gave a pay-per-view win over Danielson in the same year that that Danielson was set to win the world title. Am I correct? That was Revolution 2024.
Yes.
Huh? Mm-hmm. What we're doing with Eddie? Something's gone amiss here. I don't know what it is, but at this point, the idea of Eddie Kingston, like people were when MGF was world champion. We said it on this podcast, we didn't magic it out of thin air, but the idea was, oh God, Eddie Kingston should win it, even if it's just that Mick Foley sentimental, he gets his moment, he deserves it, then MGF cruelly takes it away from him and gets even more heat as a result. That was a big fantasy booking thing. What the hell happened to this business, the Eddie Kingston business? I've got no idea, but something is amiss. Something's gone wrong. And at this point, the idea of Eddie Kingston, future world champion, even if it's a sentimental transitional reign, has evaporated. This idea has evaporated. And the next time they try on with me of like Eddie Kingston, he's going to get a big match against, he's not going to win the world championship. And if he's not that babyface who's on the list of like the lineage of Hangman Page to MJF to Will Ospreay to turn Eddie Kingston heel. Why not? Yeah. And you know what? You need a bold from the blue. Sorry, too many B's there. Alliteration is the work of God. It is. But like, there's just enough left of like, I still really like Eddie Kingston. He's not doing that much, but I still fight for Eddie Kingston. When people have still got that sentimental attachment, now would be the perfect time I'm convinced, I'm talking myself into this now.
Mm-hmm.
Turn him heel. Turn the guy heel.
No, I'm not against that. Like, it's a bit like, kind of like a big swing, like where we started this podcast. I've got two, but I'm not enthused by one particularly, and the other one's just absolute pie in the sky fantasy booking that AEW simply won't do unless there's a bigger picture. My first one would be yet another, he's sort of like stumbled into Hangman Page, let's have a month-long run. Doesn't have a lot of depth to it, but match good and TV fine, because apparently that's the standard with Joe, it's the last act of heel Don Callis family member Takeshita. Him and Okada lose. Don Callis still seething a bit that Fletcher didn't get it done. Okada does the whispering and and then Takeshita shows that fire in the pay-per-view match at Full Gear that the babyface turn is imminent. And look at this guy, he's back. He's back all the way as a guy that you want to love. But tonight wasn't his night. He loses to Hangman. It's to feed something bigger.
Yeah,
I'm not particularly advocating for it because yet again it's a world champion that feels like he's just in something that's there to be there, and it's for another storyline. Yeah. However, can you think of an example where because I've got one in mind, and it's not a particularly good one, but the match was good. And it's John Cena and DX. Can you think of an example where a tag team has been able to effectively feud with a world champion? A singles world champion? Maybe like the Horsemen and Sting a little bit, but it's always for Ric Flair's benefit, really. Yeah. I wouldn't mind looking at FTR just deciding that Hangman's a prick. They've got memories, they've got law, they've got punk law. There's a lot of things that keep Hangman and his drinking and he was manipulated.
Loved all that.
When one of the reasons why CMFTR
Dax has lost way too many matches to ever.
I tell you, one of the reasons why is because a lot of people really like this idea that lingering in the background is a Pinnacle reunion. Joe used the word even.
Yeah.
And, like, there's always these like little teasers that maybe like, is there a bit of an overlap with what FTR are up to? And they've used Stokely, and Stokely was always like an MJF associate, and there's lots of little things like that. Like, I don't like just that. There's so much lore between them, and then it builds to like, well, one of us is going to take your goddamn belt, and the worst thing for you, Hangman, is that we don't care which one it is.
Yeah.
Like, and Dax has a pop, Cash has a pop. Like, has there ever been an example of that done well? Like, where the tag team just agree that, like, as long as it's one of us,
they need something different.
This champion has to fall.
They're
over heels. They're bad guys.
Yeah.
You know, that I was racking my brains to see those heels. There's none of them. Like,
there's bloody none of them. They need something. They need something.
And it's because I'm thinking about story. Like, look,
Bruce Pritchard over here.
That's me. They reduced him to this sort of like shell of himself for their own selfish gains. Once upon a time. Like, they could do it again. And then, like, you've got like Kenny Omega, so I'll help you. Swerve comes back from injury. We'll take these on together. You know, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, there's a way to. It's like a Young Bucks babyface turn, isn't it? Like, for that, got to get back to the Bucks. Everything always ends at Bucks FTR. We know this. All roads lead back there.
That'll solve all the problems.
But yeah, like I cannot think of bad guys.
Yeah,
and FTR are pretty effective bad guys at the moment.
AEW needs some bad guys. They absolutely do. Well, thank you very much to everyone who submitted questions today for question and answer time. If you want to get involved for future editions, sadly, you must wade through the muck on X. You can do so at WhatCulture WWE. Whilst you're there, you can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
You can follow me at Sidgwick. When are we releasing this, bad lad?
I think today, or certainly this weekend.
In which case, okay, you need to check back and subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts, because coming up next week, we will be watching Raw live.
Yes!
What the hell is that going to look and sound like? You have to go on the YouTube for that. The lads, not me, thank God, at SmackDown, will also on live on the WhatCulture Wrestling podcast be doing a watch-along live of WWE SmackDown Down Under. So subscribe for that. Thank you very much for everyone who submitted the questions yet again. Thank you very much for Hamflett for joining me today. Thank you very much for watching, listening, and we will see you soon.